Hi everyone, how are you? Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Today it's the month of the holidays and vacation. And so one of the strategies, if you have the money and the time, is that you can actually travel to the place where you want to apply to, or you're thinking about going, or you're serious, or it's part of the research, or you will go. Okay, so it's a nice chance for you. Some people they think you want to go to another place and it's work. I don't feel like it. That's fine. Other people they do, they like to have a good kind of idea of where they're going. Okay, so we have a good idea of of where we're going basically, and it's really nice, especially that sometimes if the place you're going is not cosmopolitan, and also it's not really that famous, okay, or it doesn't have a lot of foreign populations. It's nice for you to go before to see if you like it, if you accommodate to see language and culture. Maybe it's something not your choice for any reason, for personal or whatever reason, then it means that you should go and be prepared for it so that you are prepared in the next travel, that you are, you know what you need. Okay? So, for example, maybe you're going to a town or a city for any reason. Usually, anthropologists and other people, social science, and other people in different sciences for whatever reason. Sometimes doctors, sometimes architecture, sometimes engineer. Okay, so you have a different kind of perspective here of the different things that you need. Okay, so for example, maybe it's in a desert. Maybe you're an ecologist. Maybe you're an oceanographic. I don't know. Maybe you're a photographer. Maybe you have maybe you have a different kind of thing that you have that you have in mind. Okay, so here, whatever it is, um, you need to have a different perspective on things. And so, what you need to do here is you need to have a different kind of perspective on things, and you need to think about your future. Okay, so I'm going to live here for 5 years, 4 years, 3 years. What are the things some people, what's important for them is social community, to feel out. Okay, they don't like they only like their own place. They only like some places. I don't know type of character. Other people may believe that when they go, I want to get to know the people. I want to get to know society. Others know they know it's not for me. It's just 2 years, 5 years. I want to get most of the experience. I want to get most of the wage. I want to get most of the service. I want to get most of the culture, language. I want to learn the language. I'm coming here to work in Egypt, for example. This is the case for Egypt because I want to learn Arabic. It's not the work. Okay, the work is great. It's easy. I want to learn Arabic. I want to get to know Egypt and the culture. It's a different culture. I'm always used to a certain culture. I want to learn Arabic, and I also want to have a certain kind of um, um, a certain kind of what's it called? A certain kind of you know perspective on things, on history, on the different things here. I want to go to other Arab countries in the middle of the Middle East, and so the other countries here in the Middle East, whatever it is, or in Arab or non-Arab, or whatever it is there. Okay, so or I want to go to the east. It's close to the east. So Egypt is not only in the middle of the Middle East; it's also close to the east. So it borders, for example, if you want to come here as culture, some people choose to come to the Middle East not only for the work, but also for that purpose. That purpose, culture, and language we're talking about today. If you have any questions or comments, please ask me. If you have other topics, please ask me. I have the other two before. I want you to watch them. They're really important because they open up. new kind of ideas, thoughts you never thought about before. Okay, so this is really important, and so you need to have a kind of idea here um, of what you need, of what you want. Okay, maybe you don't have that, but sometimes you can think, okay, why not? I'm like this, like that. I'm going. I can take the chance, and I have maybe they give you the chance of traveling. Maybe they give you the chance of thinking about of thinking about different issues. Okay, so in this case, you have a whole kind of world here, and it's really nice. So, for example, you can go to uh, you can go to a kind of what's it called? You can go to a kind of place where it's in the middle of, maybe you're in Vietnam. You can go to other even countries of Vietnam or countries near Vietnam. Okay, maybe you live in the Middle East. Maybe you live in China. Maybe you live in, I don't know, in South America, North America. Go to Vietnam. Obviously, opens up to Asia, opens up to the Middle East. It's Indian Ocean, India, Pakistan. You can go up to Russia. So things that you never thought about, you're not near usually. Okay, but usually people, they keep it simple. In Vietnam, maybe where you work, they can you have gifts of traveling around in Vietnam and outside of Vietnam. So you look at the bordering countries, look at other things, you look at the language, look at the culture. Here, let's look at Egypt. So Egypt, if you come here, okay, so if you come here to Egypt, then you need to have a different kind of perspective. You have maybe a job opportunity. They give you travel around, and Egypt inside has a lot of interesting and very intrinsic, very complicated, very old, very sacred, very religious, very fun beach history, ancient times. It's actually for for the UN. It's as we said before, it has one third of the artifacts, the history of the world, and two-thirds in the world. Okay, you can look up why it's that. In that sense, there's so many things here. It's the capital city of the Arabic language in the Middle East for a long time, from its presence from Al Azhar, which is the oldest university institution. It's an Islamic institution, and also it's a sciences university. Before it was scientific, and now it's an Islamic university. So it comes from different cultures in the past and different civilizations that were here in Egypt, and different time periods. So it changed a lot, and because of that, you have a very strong Islamic Arabic language culture here. You also have a Coptic culture that is intrinsically very complicated with its own heritage and languages that it is dealt with. So it's very the oldest in the world, and it's linked to different areas in the world. And you can, from Africa to Russia to the West, it's infinite. Okay, so and they have their own art. They're really famous for here in Egypt and the world. They have their own culture and heritages. They also have, you find a very unique culture in whatever thing you can think about. So they are actually a unique culture in Egypt. So this Coptic culture doesn't exist in Africa or outside of Egypt. It's unique to Egypt, and it has its own unique languages and heritages and culture. It's unique in its art. It's unique in its approach to life, and it is unique in its traditions and culture. So if you like to get to know when you come here, it's very nice. You won't find it around the world. It's unique to Egypt, and you can see how it is linked to different parts of Egyptian history. The same thing with different Islamic cultures here. It's unique to Egypt. Okay, so you don't find it outside of Egypt. The way they celebrate Ramadan, for example, the way they approach religion in their different sects or their different kind of religious schools, culture, traditions, or location. So you'll find in Cairo it's different than in other places. The same thing with culture and other religions in Egypt. So you have other religions in Egypt that are unique to Egypt, and also are existing outside the world, but it's unique, like the Islamic one, to Egypt. Okay, so this is really important. The other thing they have here, which is important, is they have a nice recycling kind of system. Okay, so if you're interested in recycling, it's nice. They have a park and ecology system in Egypt where it's friendly to the nature and animals. You also have unique worshiping places or places where in history, for different religions or different heritages, it's unique and sacred all around Egypt. So that's something. Now, and obviously the ancient Egyptian culture and the pyramids, that's number one. Okay. Here in Cairo, for example, you have the Khan al Khalid you can go to, which has the shrine of, they believe, the grandfather of Muhammad, Imam Hussein, and you can go there. Around there, there's so many different cafes and so many different cultures and things that were like the famous novels that goes around that place and movies. You have their different kinds of dress and everything else, from belly dancing to different folklore to introduction kind of dress to makeup to the coffee there, the hookah, the environment, the ambiance, the souvenirs. It's very nice. It's actually a location, if you live here, everyone goes to buy silver, to buy gold, diamonds, accessories, Egyptian souvenirs, and the budget is up to you. So it can be low budget to high budget. Okay, and it's known there. If you go, you should bargain because they don't have a set price usually. And in some places they do. Okay, and they would tell you, but in the place they don't, then you have to bargain. Um, and you have to make sure that you go with the dress code in Cairo. So in Cairo, you have the same dress code. Um, so, um, so in that sense, um, you have a different kind of dress code, and you have to make sure that if you go, that you are secure. So you shouldn't go alone if you're a newcomer to such areas. It is a touristic place, and you can go after you live here, but you should go around to go. Okay, so it's just to be on the safe side. So you should go with friends, or you should go alone. Afterwards, and get used to the culture here in Cairo. Not only that, and not only in Cairo or in other places like it, because they're in part of Old Cairo. In part of Old Cairo, you shouldn't go alone in the beginning. You should go with other people that you know here, to security reasons and also for different reasons, just if you get lost or whatever. Okay, because their English is not very used, and it may not be safe for you. So just to be on the safe side and to know the dress code, the culture, and how to bargain and everything to think about to be comfortable. Okay, so this is number one. So usually you should go with a tour with the people around you in the first month or two, and then afterwards you get to know around by yourself in a taxi or Uber or whatever. For the first say 3 months, you have to be with other people so that you're on the safe side. Even in Cairo and places where usually you can go, but just to be on the safe side. And then afterwards, you should keep in mind. So in the neighborhood you're in, for example, you should be comfortable to go around alone. You should know around how to use the GPS, how to use that. These logistics make a big difference, and you should know, who should I call for this and this and this. The contact numbers. These are all common sense. Okay, why are these important? Because guess what? These are predictors if you are going to have a great time in your new career in another. It's just Egypt as a example. Okay, this example is very important because there are many countries like Egypt. It has unique things. It's amazing, but you have to make sure that you're successful, and you have to make sure you go by, the common sense and what's known in the culture, so that you don't fall into problems. Like for example, it maybe in the beginning you have to abide by the dress code, but then afterwards it's fine because you're part of the culture and it's normal. Okay, but not in all places, obviously. In some places, you have to still abide by the dress code. So, for example, maybe you are, in Egypt, for example, you always have to abide by the dress code in the Old Cairo area, wherever you go. But in Cairo itself, usually, if you get used to the culture and you know it, then it's fine. There's no problem. actually. Especially if you live in certain areas in Cairo, then there's no problem. It has a poor population, and there's no problem. But and especially that they know you and you know the neighborhood, and you go to Uber or the taxi, and people here know the company and everything else, in the sense you're comfortable and everyone is around, so there's nothing dangerous. Okay. But obviously, it's not from the first week. You have to wait until at least 3 months until you know how it goes. Maybe, maybe your neighborhood is very private, and that's great. Some neighborhoods in Egypt, Cairo, are very private. No one sees you. No one knows you. It's a very private, and you don't have any issues. Okay. Other neighborhoods, no, maybe that they are private, but you just have to be aware that there is a kind of comfort, or a kind of you know a kind of contact with people that you may know, emergency numbers, people that you may know, just in case, because if they have issues, and just to be on the safe side. Okay. Or just maybe you get to know other people, in your neighborhood, people in your work, people that friends or whatever. That's great. But just make sure that you're on the safe side and you don't run into things you don't like. Okay? So some neighborhoods are not that private. Some neighborhoods, they're open, but just make sure that you're on the safe side and you're comfortable with everything. Don't feel uncomfortable, because Egypt is one of those cultures that you may run into people that are very, you don't like. Okay, that not very comfortable, and they give you that from the beginning. So they have a different kind of a different kind of uh, uh, a different kind of perspective on things. Okay, so they may not be that comfortable or secure, and opposite, they may be amazing, and you may go to trips and you may get to know Egypt. Okay, but usually, you know, it's better to be on the safe side in Egypt, and to know through where you work in the company, because it's a huge country and it's like over 90 million, I think. There's so different people and places and cultures, and to be on the safe side, just people you know. Okay, and just to be on the safe side, and you go, because some can be really mean, and others you can't trust, and they can tell you and it's, so just to be on the safe side, you know you deal with. Basically, it's a huge country, and it's up to you as an individual to be responsible in that. That's number one. Number two, you have in Egypt a kind of nice culture with language, so you can learn Arabic language. There are many tutors, teachers, centers, and everything else. You don't need to have an exam or certificate. If you want, you can. There are different also centers for that, and the formal exams, but it's better to do it worldwide, so it's nice. There's also religious studies and different religions that Egypt has, and other religions in the Middle East. So you also can learn different languages in the Middle East, different than Arabic. You can learn Hebrew, Iranian, Turkish. You can learn different languages in Egypt, and also you can learn. They have Russian centers. They have centers from Asia. They also have centers around the world. So actually, Egypt is one of those places where you have centers. You can learn the language. You can see the culture. Maybe for some reason you want, I did that before. There's centers here that from Europe. So, for example, Italy, France, you have Francophone here, which is really nice. China, you have embassies here. You have special occasions you can go to. It's a really nice international city. Okay, so culture and heritage is it's a capital city in the world, and you can have a taste of whatever country you like. You can go. They have their own public libraries that you can go to also, and they have Arabic and English books and books from that are in the public libraries, and they're really nice. You have art museums that are amazing, besides the art museums and Egyptian museum and other museums of ancient times and Islamic and Coptic and all the histories that you think about here, which is a lot. Okay, so it's infinite, but they have a lot. There are different shrines here, like we said, different sacred places of worship that are active or inactive or historical, and or altogether. You can find all together. So you'll find there are ones that are really old and are still in use and they're historical and everything else. Okay. Um, and and then you have different kinds of instruments here that are very famous from the Middle East Arab world and the East. So the one is oud. Okay, so oud is used also. Oud is very famous. You have, for example, Kulthum is you hear it a lot here. Even if you don't know Arabic, you can have a translation. She's the most famous iconic figure in singing in the Arab world and in the Middle East and Middle East in general, in the realm of Arabic language. So so you have Kulthum and her songs. You can get her CD. You can get songs on YouTube. You can on the cafe. You can tell them put on Kulthum. And there are other famous singers here that are famous in history in the Arab world. So, for example, you have Abdul Hafiz. You have all these all big names that you can research into and everything else here. They have museums they have pictures, they have information. You can listen to songs and everything else. Also, here you have the American University in Cairo. It has its own rare books library. It has its own library also. So you can go there, and there are other universities that you can see their libraries too. You can ask around. There's a Canadian university. There's a German university. There is the Azhar. It has a huge library. It's easy. You can go there. And also there's Azhar Club. There's a whole culture of Azhar you can go and see. There are also Coptic universities and other universities that you can go and see it. Um, there are villages and places in both and other cultures that you can go and see, and they have different things that they do. Not only there's libraries, they do arts and crafts. They also have a different kind of a different kind of way of life. You can go and see. Okay, Siwa is an example. Siwa is in the desert. It's like I think it's around 6 to 7 hours, if I'm not sure. Maybe it's okay. I think it's more by car. I don't know if there's an airport there. I don't think so. But when I went there a long time ago, there was no airport and we went by bus. It was much more than that. Okay, it's on the border with Libya. Their culture is closer to Libya, but they have their own unique culture and it's touristic and it's very nice. Okay, so people go there for tourism and they go swim. They have oasis. They go also um, to go and see their arts and crafts, to go and see the way of life. The way of life is very nice. It's kind of they have their own arts and history, the culture, which is very nice to get to know. There are hotels there, and there are different NGOs and different things, activities that you can go and see there. There are also there's the Red Sea. The Red Sea is really nice. The Red Sea is one of the most famous seas in the world for snorkeling and coral beach. It has a beautiful coral. Diving, scuba diving. It has different activities in the sea, from Sharm el Sheikh to Hurghada to different city to Luna. And there are other parks and places where it's touristic, but it's not like big hotels or touristic cities, you can call them, on the beach. It's more like for you to go to do more like camping or a more simpler way of going on the beach, basically. Now there's Dahab. There are other also ones, okay, and these are on the Red Sea. So on the other side you have Saudi Arabia, and also it's on the border of Israel. So you have that on the top, and then on the other side you have Saudi Arabia, which is really nice. So if you want to travel, you can go to these two countries, or you can go to Libya. For some people, they go from Siwa to Libya. Okay, so it depends on where you want to go. You have the Mediterranean above. You have Alexandria. Alexandria is a very different city than Cairo. You should go there. It has Roman, Greek. It has ancient Egyptian. It has on the Mediterranean. It has go on a cruise to other countries in the Mediterranean and the sea. or you can go by plane to Europe. Okay, so it's bordering. You have up there different countries of Europe. I think it's Greece, Italy, and yeah. So you have different countries there. Then you have on the other side of Egypt. So on the Red Sea, with the border of Brazil, you have different kind of touristic places there. Okay, and you can also go by sea, so it's still the Mediterranean. So it's between the Mediterranean and the Red Sea, which is really nice. This peninsula here is called Sinai. Okay, and Sinai is really it's all of it is basically touristic. It has its own culture also. So if you want to go and see people, uh, local people there who live there, it's really nice. They have their own local villages and cities, and they have their own centers. You have the Red Sea. Um, you have the Red Sea, and you have different places also. Okay, so uh, the different places is the different places that exist there is the different places that exist there is um, the different places that exist there includes, like, for example, you have, let me just think about the different parks. Okay, there are different parks there basically. You can go and ask around the parks. In the park, you go in and you go in a jeep, or you go in a big car, or on a camel, or horses, and you go walk around. Okay, so this is in Sinai. There's also the Suez Canal. Okay, so it's really famous. It links Africa to Asia. So you get, these are all really nice places to do in Egypt. You can go still out. Food is huge. Now, and also something very important in Nile. So and you can get in our cruise between Luxor and Aswan, or in Cairo, the restaurants, hotels, different activities in the Nile you can do. Okay. So in this case, you have a different a different kind of uh, a different kind of what's it called? A different kind of culture there. In the Nile, in Egypt, in Cairo, and in Egypt, there's so many different varying cultures here. It's impossible, okay, except that you are interested and you love it. And on the opposite side, you know, it can be so interested in love. And opposite side can be something given afterwards. Okay, so oh my god, yeah, and you have, but usually it's highly interesting. It's very attractive, and even afterwards, you find that you learn so much. Okay, you learn so much. There are different cultures, and you can go on a cruise, I believe, from Cairo to different places. It's a long one. Between those ones, one's the famous one. It's a mistake. One takes it usually like it. It's around 2 weeks, I think. I'm not sure. There are different activities you do, or 1 week. It depends on what you choose. Um, so you usually go from Aswan to Luxor by Nile cruise, and then you take a train to Cairo or airplane. And basically, they take you different spots, and there's so many different spots. You'd be surprised they choose for you. And so you go and you get to learn most of it in Egyptian. Some of it they take you to the cultures there, local cultures, but usually it's ancient Egyptian. Okay. Um, so uh, so this is number one. Okay, number two, you have here uh, different refugee cultures that do different kinds of bazaars, which is also nice. And then you have community service, which is also nice, but you need to be careful here because it may not be safe. So for your own safety, if you like that, you need to ask around because it's on your responsibility, and if it's not safe, then you shouldn't do it. Okay. So that's very important. So here you have symbols of security, and that's why you have to have the connections, and you have to be the connections so that you're on the right track. Now, this is outside. You have so many different countries bordering it that we talked about, and other ones. You can go by plane to different Arab countries or Middle Eastern countries or countries that are outside of the Middle East. You can go to Africa, it's close to Africa. You can go to South Africa. You can go to Vietnam. You can go to Russia, China. You can go to Dubai and the Gulf and Abu Dhabi. Okay, so Dubai and Abu Dhabi and the Gulf, Qatar, Kuwait, all of these big cities. Okay, and you also have, like I said, they're close to Saudi Arabia, so you go to Riyadh easily and other places also. The neighboring countries obviously get better um, better offers. Okay, usually from Egypt you can have excellent offers outside, even to Europe. Okay, so in Europe you get excellent offers. Lebanon and Jordan also you can get really good offers and a really nice time. Okay, like in Petra or in different places, it's very famous from here. They usually go to Petra, they usually go to Amman, they usually go to Beirut, also go to different places. Um, if there are places that are not safe, then you should go. Okay, so you have to ask around. Like these places, sometimes it's not safe to go. Okay, so you have to ask around here in the Arab world, like Lebanon, Syria. Okay, so and Iraq, the same thing. You can, but just ask around if it's safe. Okay. And the same thing in Israel and Libya and all the different countries. Here also in Egypt, there are some times where they tell you, no, you can go out after this hour or whatever for whatever reason. Then you have to abide by that. Okay, so in a sense, you have a different kind of behavior. Okay, in Egypt, what's nice also is the culture of food. So you have restaurants and cafes, and you can get your laptop and Wi-Fi and just eat there. It's really nice. You have Lunar, you have in the city. In Cairo, it's like that. In Alexandria, the same thing, and in different places. Usually, it's clean. So if you're sensitive to take care, because if you are sensitive or you've got food poisoning from the beginning, that means many people have that. That means you're not adaptable to the This is a warning. Okay, this is really important because here people usually, if from the beginning, if they have poison, it doesn't really work with them. Okay, that means it doesn't work with you the food. Okay, so you should make sure that you get your own food. They have usually canned food here for supermarkets, and because you're not the only one. There are people that are sensitive. So it's a huge issue. So in this case, you should take that note. Okay, that's why even if it's not Egypt, wherever you go for this reason, other reasons, you should have a kind of 1 week. Where am I going? Right? It's really nice. Some companies or places where you apply to work or you're accepted, you're going to go, they do that. You go before and then you see it. Maybe it's a training, maybe it's just to get to know orientation, and then you come back. And sometimes people change their mind because of different things. Okay, sometimes no, it's great. Okay, and it's excellent, and I'm really excited. And they go. Okay, so is this a kind of best thing to get to the future? No, obviously no. Okay, but usually 90% it works out. Okay, so it's not a predictor for the future, but it is 90% works out. Sometimes obstacles come or challenges. Sometimes no, sometimes actually it's really bad and actually makes right. It makes a big difference and it's great. That's what happened. But usually 90% is a good predictor. Okay, 90%, 10%, right? 90% is a good predictor. Okay, so this is really important also. And also you have a different kind of you know um, a different kind of world and culture. So keep in mind it's different, but you want to make the most out of it. And it's not wrong to feel that you should not be here. Okay, it's not wrong. Okay. It's not wrong to feel that you should not be here, or you feel like it's not for me. Great. And you know why? Because I said it's 90% predictor. If you're not comfortable, it's hard. Okay. Um, it's really important. Some people like to push things okay, but you have to take the responsibility. For other people, it may be easier for you. For you, it's really hard. Egypt is one of those people. If you don't like it from the beginning, you should not stay. Okay? Because, like for example, the food, yeah, the food is it's it is something that can can make a big issue because if you're not used to it or you poison the thing, then that's a note you should think about. Another thing, if you don't really get used to the culture of bargaining and being kind of argumentative for different things, okay? So it's actually sometimes it's great that you apply and everything else, but usually to be on the safe side, you should bargain and um, you can be kind of you have your own character. Okay, if you don't have your own character, even if you're secure to everything else, you can run into problems. They they can be very demanding. They don't like except for you to have your own character, and sometimes they can be very mean. That's their culture and everything. Okay, but usually they're really nice to foreigners, and if you got used to them, you got used to it. Okay, in that sense. And obviously here you should not think about applying to other places to be on the safe side. Okay, you should go back to where you came from because, or the origin, because it's they are not professional or they're not professional or kind of accredited for you. You may lose a lot. Okay, not only Egypt but in other countries, right? So you should be on the safe side. You should go back to where. So if you applied from university or a website or whatever, then you should, if you're interested to work in another place, then you should really research and make sure you're on the right track and you're not, you're not baffling you or whatever because of your position. Okay, that sometimes happens, especially in the Middle East. And Egypt is one of them. So they may baffle you, they may change things, you may be corrupt and you don't know. You may be safe and it can affect you negatively. So this is really important. Just to be on the safe side, to go back to your origin. You make sure everything's on the right track. You make sure your country you come from, everything else is on the right track. So, it's a professional company. Maybe you have a certain, I don't know, measurement of whatever the accreditation or whatever. Then you should think about that. This is also important because you don't know, right? Maybe there are different things that you never knew existed, and it existed. Okay, and so this is really important. Okay, so maybe you have, for example, a company, given that you're in a neighborhood, if you change that company in the country you're in, you didn't go to urgent, then okay, you don't have, um, um, you don't, you suddenly went to another neighborhood that's unsafe and it's not like the first one. Okay, so you should think about all of these things. Okay, now these are all for the culture and language, and here it's very common for the Arabic foreigners. Like I said, it is a big theme. Like in any country, it's nice for you to get to know what are they famous for. So Egypt is famous for everything we talked about, and it's also famous for it's the Hollywood of the Arab world, and also the Middle East. So you'll find and the East. So you'll find that it is a center like Hollywood, and like Hollywood is a center that back in movies and old movies and cultures and books and novels and different plays and everything about different genres. It's really nice to watch and to get to know. It's a cultural heritage by itself in the Arab world and the East and the East. So especially the old ones are really big, like Bollywood and Hollywood. They have their own heritages, and the new ones also are very famous. So you may run into famous stars here, and it's common. You may also run into novelists or I don't know people in that culture of arts and music and novels and performing arts. Okay, you may also have different plays you can attend. Opera, they have the opera here, which is very famous. They have different shows from around the world. So this is also very nice. So basically, here it's a very nice place to to know that culture. What if you don't like? Okay, you okay. That's important for you to know. Then you should find your character. If you don't, then you feel comfortable, and that's exactly what you need to do. So what if, for example, like for now, there's Christmas. Okay, so you can go around and you can look at the different places where they have occasions or different bazaars or activities or designs or everything else. They hotels, you sit down for Christmas on the Nile, for example. Okay. You may also go to travel and find excellent traveling deals in Christmas time. And that's usually in the winter. Luxor and Aswan, the weather is excellent there. It's really hot during the year. In the winter, at that time, it's really nice. The Red Sea, in Cairo, it's cold, but it's good. Okay. In the summer, it's hot everywhere in Egypt. It's really hot. So it's not a place to go and tour. It's a place for you to go and travel wherever you want, usually. Okay. So it's not the place to tour around in Egypt, except for exceptional places where maybe Alexandria, but even then it's really crowded and it's very hot. Okay, Alexandria is the place in the Sahel where everyone goes to from Cairo and Egypt for the summer. So it's really crowded usually in these times. Maybe you get to know people or places where it's not that crowded. That's great. That's great. But usually it's better to go in other times into these two places. Um, so this is really important. And more and more. So like any country, there are infinite things. What's here important is basically looking at the culture, learning from the culture, using your best time in that country. So you have a different kind of culture, a different kind of perspective. You learn, you get the most out of what you do basically. Okay, so not only the work or the career, you also this helps obviously your career to become very successful, and you will become an asset for the future. So if you go back home or if you go to another country, you have a better opportunity and a better position, and you may excel in different things you never thought about. Maybe the language, maybe the culture, or different things. Okay, so just make sure that you make the most out of it. But always, like I said, remember the security, your character in the way that you're comfortable. Don't push yourself. You want to have a good time. It's enough that you have your own work, right? And obviously, you want to have a good time in your work. You want to have a fun and nice environment, and you want to have be successful. So this is what's important. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments, please do. Okay, provide them, and I have all the pages I have. Follow me, subscribe, and I would be more than happy. Thank you so much. Bye.